Good evening, travelers, and welcome to this first edition of What's Up Wednesday. So we're going to talk about social life, tribal life. There's quite a few questions in there. First question is, do you travel mostly with other nomads, or do you go off alone quite a bit, and why? When I first started traveling out here, it was 4 years ago. I didn't know anybody, and I traveled quite a bit alone. Since that time, I have met people and I have met quite a few friends. And in the wintertime, during the social season, we kind of sit in the same general areas. But during the summer months, I have not had the opportunity to travel with anyone until this year. This year, however, I got the opportunity to travel with people on several different occasions in several different areas. And all over this summer, I've camped with one individual or a couple individuals, and as you saw my video on the Olympic Loop, we traveled with a whole group there. But I didn't get all the way to travel with those people all summer long. Okay, next question. Do you get lonely on your journey? I used to. I don't anymore. I have so many friends I can call, talk to on the phone, people I knew before I started traveling, people I have met on the road. So I can talk to people on the phone when I get lonely. I have Jake here with me who keeps me busy. And I have a lot of things I do. So no, I'm not lonely anymore. Used to be, not anymore. Next question. When you travel, do you ever lead where you go, or do you generally follow? Sometimes I lead and people go where I want to go, and because we're going in the same direction. And sometimes I follow because they've got something fun or something planned, and then I go follow where they're going. Most of the time when I'm traveling, I'll contact and find where people are, and if they're close enough to me, maybe I'll hightail it over there and follow where they're going. Or if they're on the way to where I'm going, we'll just hook up and find out where we're going and just go. It's basically how it goes. Next question. Would you rather spend days or weeks with the same group, or meet new people, or travel alone? It's kind of a combination. I like to travel alone sometimes. I like to be with groups sometimes. And I definitely like to meet new people. So it's just a combination of all of them. So then the next one is a really hard one to answer. It's called, how does a tribe come to be? What are the pros and cons of tribe environment? And does it ever get like holidays with the whole family? I don't know how a tribe comes to be. Actually, it's based on your traveling preferences, your style. Some people like to just jump on the road and drive, and miss everything and go to the next spot. Some like to go to a spot, hang out for a day or two, see what's around there, and take off. Some like to get up before daybreak and hit the road, and some like to sleep in until noon. So it all depends on what you like and how you like as to who you can travel with. Now, as far as like getting into a tribe, we don't call it tribes. Not all of us, just some people do. It's basically who you connect with and how you meet people. You're going to meet people out here if you want to. If you don't want to, you can stay all by yourself, miles from everybody, in your own little rig, and sit there with the doors closed or sit outside. That's your choice. Now, usually there are groups that have events, and people get into the events, and that's how they meet people. I know last year Bob Wells had a lot of caravans out where newbies got together with people that have been on the road, and we got to meet people that way. Those groups are grown, split off, made new. There's hundreds of groups out here. They're just growing like crazy. So you will find people if you want to find people. The first year or two it might be difficult, but as you get used to how things go and how things operate out here on the road, you'll meet people. Okay, pros and cons of tribe environment. Pros, you get to travel with friends, you get to meet friends. If something happens to your rig, there's usually somebody there to help you. If you have a problem, say you fall down, there's usually people around that can help you. You get to cook with each other, or you get to sit down at a campfire and eat with each other. You get to talk to people about new things. You get to talk to people about your stuff. I mean, communication, you get friendships. Cons, it can be people in the group can irritate you by maybe they park too close. That's a big one. Or they have quirky little things that they don't like about you, and you can feel it, and it'll rub a little bit, and then you'll know, hey, I need to find another group, or I need to find another friend, or whatever. But I would say mostly it's pros. Most of the time it's pros. Very few cons. Does it ever get like holidays with the whole family? Yeah, if you travel with the mobile traveler, yeah, he cooks. So when somebody cooks and they're saying, hey, we're cooking for the group, yeah, you get together. Not everybody cooks for the group, and not everybody eats with a group. But usually when food's involved, yeah, it's like holidays all the time. But, just depends on what your group wants to do. Okay, how did I get into a tribe, and how did I meet regular travel buddies? Well, it's kind of a little story, but the social season ended, and I drove off to a place called Telephone Cove. And while I was there, one of the people I had met came down to Telephone Cove, who introduced me to two people that she was with. And then later, they went somewhere else, and one of the people that she knew invited me to come up there. I came up there and met more people, and then went somewhere else and met more people because they knew people. So that's how you get into a group. You meet someone that's part of a group, they introduce you to the group, and then the group introduces you to the rest of the group, and it grows from there. Other ways are meetups. Like I filmed the meetup with the Destination Open Road meetup, which was up in Washington this year. There were over 100 people at Terry and Scott's meetup. Now, they announced that on their video and invited people, and they had a drawing, and they invited quite a few people, a lot more than they thought they could fit on their property. And we had a blast. So I met a lot of people that came to their meetup. They got a chance to meet me, and now I have new friends, and I have more friends, and now on the road we'll meet up again this winter, and we'll know each other. Also, last year I had a meetup, and I'll be having another meetup this year in November. I think the meetup's going to be the 15th. Not sure, so don't quote me on that date, but it's close around the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. And the reason I have my meetup in December is because everybody's there in the Quartzsite area. There's meetups all the time. So that's another way you can find a tribe. All right, it says, next question says, I'd like to see more than one tribe, maybe with different tribe names, etc. Rooms for others to join. There are other tribes. The only reason you see the tribes that you see on YouTube is because you are probably watching the same people that I'm associated with or that they're associated with. Now, there's lots of other groups out there and lots of other tribes. Who do I travel with? I travel with a lot more people than is just on YouTube. I have a lot of friends that I travel with, and I travel with as many as I like to. Some I would consider acquaintances. They're not really great friends. They're fun to be around for a short period of time, and then I need to move on. Some I can be around longer. It just depends. It depends on what's going on. Okay, did I know other nomads before I became one? No, I did not. I watched YouTube before I left home, and there was only a couple that I watched, and I didn't know anybody when I hit the road. The last one in this category, somebody asked, you have a nice group of friends. How did you avoid not so nice people? Well, for the most part, people that travel out here on the road are nice, and people out here give of themselves. They come from backgrounds where life wasn't so social. Like where I lived in a cul-de-sac. I had a nice little house. I was in a neighborhood. I was in the same town for 8 years. I went to a church there in town, knew everybody at the church. I was even on the worship team playing drums at the church. So I was in a very busy position so that I knew a lot of people there. We didn't have a great big church so that we could meet people often. The problem is with the church, Sunday's over, people go home, that's it. You don't see them again for a week. There is no socializing except during church meetups. To me, that's not cool. We should be part of each other's lives. Living in the neighborhood, you've got people that are to themselves. They don't talk to you. They're busy. They got to go to work. They come home. They go to bed. You never see them. I didn't even know who my next door neighbor was. 8 years living there, 2 or 3 neighbors, didn't know them. Get out here on the road, you meet people, you talk to people. The house is no longer there. That barrier of property and home ownership and that wall that prevents you from interacting with your neighbor and your friend, it's no longer there. Out here, it's open. Out here, it's all up to you whether you want to assert yourself and say hello or you want to sit there and not say hello. Because you may think people don't like you because they don't come up and say hello, but that might not be the case. It might be that they're just as shy as you are, and they're nervous about going and saying hello. So if you see somebody that you might want to talk to or you think they're interesting, go up and say hi. Say, hey, I like your rig. Wow, that's pretty cool. Or I like your dog. Or wow, that is a really cool truck. Start talking to them about their things, and they're going to start talking to you. And then you will get to know what they're into, and you will be able to determine if they're into some of the same things you are. Now you've got a conversation going on. Okay? Very easy. Where did you go last summer? Have you been in this life very long? How long have you been doing this? How much solar you got on top of your rig? These are some of the questions you ask just to get started. Hey, I'm a newbie. I really like what you're doing. Can I check out what you're doing? Good questions to start with. So I'm going to end it with just this segment. So come next week for the next segment. And if you have more questions, send them in. All right? Thanks for traveling. And remember, always follow your heart, embrace your dreams, and cherish your life. And I'll see you next week with another What's Up Wednesday. Bye-bye.